Okay, so let's get this show on the road. The working session is now ready to commence.
The topic or the subject of the work session is to review and discussion of document subject JMI Edison administrative complaint regarding Aircraft Service International Group Inc. DBA Menzies Aviation CLB case number 20210904 OAG PCF NO or number 23-0026. Um,
So this being a working session, I would ask the director to proceed with how we're going to work on this. We're having this discussion on it. So, what are the points and that we can proceed with?
okay, hold on really quick. We're gonna get the investigators.
Yeah, Chairman Rena, on our last board meeting, this was uh, requested by the board of directors, a member of the board of directors, to have a work session which was scheduled for today. And this is so the board of directors could thoroughly discuss what we had received from the AG's office. And because that opinion has now been received here at our office, and so our investigation finding has, been approved by and as an opinion from the AG's office. And so now, with the additional work that the investigative staff have done here, will be presented today to the board for further review and what further action we have to take in accordance to the. Yeah, so we'll have Nita go, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, then, so it would be the investigative group that would bring us up to date for what they've worked on, right?
Right, and as requested by Board Director Vince, I realized that the staff here, and which we did, was sort of like draft up what normally happens here during these findings of such. So we've done that. We're gonna go ahead and have Nita here, the chief investigator or the lead investigator for this case, to go ahead and present to the members here today, and let's move forward on this work session, so we could go towards conclusion for this case.
Okay.
Nita, please
Okay,
explain to the board.
actually there is the brief summary of the case that is where the opinion came from, the documents that we submitted to the AG for the review is a result of the brief summary. I think we have not given yet, the binders to the board members if they want.
This is what the AG reviewed
Mhm.
when
Yes.
they gave us their guidance.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So my question is, what do we do next?
There is a recommendation here from
The AG?
the AG on what is gonna be the next. I think that was read by Mr. Sanchez the last time.
Yeah, the summary in the last
The summary,
board meeting, I did read the summary from the Attorney General's office, and so that's what it is. It was proved that we've done the investigative process in accordance to the statutes as, approved by law here and for CLB to act on. So we've done that, the AG's had opinion that agreed on the findings, and so, so also advise us in those findings from the AG's office that we may proceed with what we need to do to address this concern. And so with that proceeding there, with that green light, I went ahead and Nita and I spoke on this matter, and I told her to go to the next step. Okay, so that next step there is, Nita, can you
Yeah,
please read
the
that?
next step would be the remedies. It is on page 10. The 70109.1 it appears clear that CLB investigators' determination was well-founded that a violation of law occurred. It further appears that the violation was knowing, willful, and intentional given the fact that ASIG was previously licensed and how it seemingly interfered with the CLB's investigation. That violation resulted in injury to a properly licensed contractor in Guam that has previously followed the statutory regulatory requirements set forth by the legislature. Moreover, the unlicensed contractor is by virtue of not applying for and obtaining a license required under Guam law is conducting business operations that endanger the public safety at the Guam airport. CLB should therefore immediately begin enforcement proceedings to stop the injury. Section 10109.1c sets forth the following mandatory CLB remedies once a citation issues, in addition to other remedies. So, I have prepared a draft citation, of course, for review of our legal counsel also. If that is what the board, is, that's why, I wanted to.
So
It's a
I guess,
recommendation,
yeah, we
so-
could fire that out to Michelle here and Rena, any other board. Yeah, so if you could look at that, so
If
maybe
you
they
could
could,
look at this is just a
Did you
draft
fire her,
because
or-
it says here
Not this
citation.
document.
So we did a draft citation.
I can scan it to her right now. So she
Please,
can review
please,
it.
so she can
It's up
review.
to them, this
Yeah,
is.
could you send it to me?
It's on its way electronically.
Okay. So this is a recap of what, investigative team and yourself, Mr. Director, have reviewed, and this is the recommendations or the steps that we need to go towards next, right?
That's correct. That's what we have drafted here on the CLB staff members, and
Yeah.
during this work session, it'd be, it's probably, it's up to the board here, the board members, to move further with it, but administratively, it's been prepared. Now, the green light, it's gotta come from the board.
I understand, so this is a working session, so we're reviewing and we can make, recommendations or make changes or whatnot, and then in the continuing on to the board meetings, that's when we would take action, because we need a form to approve anything, correct?
Correct. So yeah, what we've done here are more in a draft form, pending the, review from the board. And then from there, whatever amendments, additions to that recommendations that we prepared already administratively, once we
Yeah.
receive that back from the board members, then we could finalize the action to be taken.
Is this, I'm waiting for it to get on, just your my email, but is it, how many pages is it?
It should be at
How
least,
about 5 pages?
the draft is 5 pages there.
Michelle, you ready?
7, yes.
Okay.
All it, basically what they're recommending is, a fine and a cease and desist order until they get a license.
I read the legal document from the attorneys for, JMI, and, it appears that, NC is continuing with a 90-day extension. So, the fine is one thing, and the cease and desist is another thing, because, because you control that flu, so there's no way you can put a stop to operations at the airport. So, I guess, to me, this would be, I just got it, more of a twofold. The fine, which that's kind of easy to do, but the operation piece is the one. Okay, I'm reading it. So it's, Michelle, it's you, myself, is there another board member present?
Selena just walked in.
Oh,
Hi, Rena. How are you?
okay. Hi, Selena. Let's read this.
We're also waiting for Vince Ariola.
Okay, was there an amount, I'm looking real quick. Was there an amount that
Where they could stay.
the investigative team
You know,
to assess.
Sandy, I had a question. I don't know where I read, whether it was, it's Rosato's letter to the board on page 2 where he says, that's actually Mr. Walsh's letter. That if we, the first and second paragraph talk about allowing a May 14 date and
Yeah.
for Menzies to transition the services to JMI. Has that been decided already? Because we didn't issue the cease and desist. And then, isn't that the airport's job to decide what to do?
I think that legal opinion, that legal, from them is, I guess, stating what they want to do. I don't think they're actually, that would be, that's not in our purview. They're right, it belongs to the airport. Ours is just to decide, and find that this is it. Whether that, I know, I read that was sent to us yesterday.
Yeah, that was just a little confusing to me. I needed to understand that, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to speak on
I think
that,
it's there. Yeah.
Vice Chair, this was just a suggestion by JMI's council, and the board can entertain or not entertain it. What happens at the airport is the airport's business, and let's keep in, the airport also has a procurement protest going on that's running parallel to this, and under the procurement laws, there's a whole different set of rules that apply, and they're not consistent with what the board does here. For example, there's an automatic stay that you can't do anything, the airport can't do anything until their protest is resolved. But the CLB is not involved in that protest. This is just an administrative body, and what happens in the court is, that's up to the court to decide, and the recommendation of the Attorney General, Moylan, is just for CLB to do its job and its piece, and what happens outside of it, that's, up to the courts and the airport to figure out.
Correct.
Uh,
I think, we already established that CLB purview is findings that the, Menzies, did do work without a proper license. So that's really all our case is about, is that, and then within that, what do we penalize them for, which is number 6, okay? So I'm looking at this, that is our only job, is to do that. We find them for doing that, and then, the rest is up to the airport. Because all we're doing is we did find them in violation, so we're citing that violation, we're citing a penalty, and that's it.
Aren't we, don't we have to tell them to stop?
I don't think that's our, do,
We may
We're-
cease and desist.
we can.
However, with those, it should be.
That's really the airport's problem though, right?
Yeah.
Sandy?
yeah, I think we state the license part that they did not do, and then tell them what the penalty is, and then let the airport take over. We're done with our responsibility to make sure that whoever does work is properly licensed. I think that's our job.
But we're not doing it if we don't tell them to stop. Because there's public endangerment here, right?
So, Nita,
Correct, but I'm assuming that the license, the investigative team on the stop and desist is, if they don't have a license, I'm assuming all this time that they might have gotten somebody on board that does have a license. It's not that's kind of,
Have they done anything?
they're not doing their due
We haven't
diligence
received any
themselves.
application.
But but for us, it's, okay, we've cited them, and then if they haven't gotten a licensed person on board that's under this, under our rules, then that's a citing, and whether, if they don't have one on staff to do this work, then yes, I believe we have to say, just like when we do with contractors, if they don't have a license, the work stops, correct?
They haven't had a license and they still continue to operate.
Correct, but for us, if we find a contractor that's doing work and they don't have any license, we tell them to stop, correct?
Yes.
we do.
Okay, so that's basically, those are the steps that we have to do. We tell them you don't have this license, that work needs to stop, and then we fine them for all the previous things they've done. Now, it comes to the airport, because if they're gonna stop operations without a person that's licensed, that's a bigger issue, and that's not on us.
I understand, but we have to do our part in telling them to stop, is what I'm saying.
Correct, so that's just it, if we're going to say, we already said they violated, and the Attorney General's office already told us that you are correct, they don't have this. So now our part is to, enforcement proceedings, and the enforcement proceedings is stop work, and fine. And that's gonna
Read
be,
what's next.
because the recommendations I'm looking for from
Nothing else.
the
21.
investigative chief,
What's the next move we're gonna do?
does it tell that?
Well, we're gonna go ahead and have Nita, present the next step on these findings, okay? And then, so you guys could have a better idea on what really is the next step. We have already proved what we needed to prove as negative, they didn't have the required license to do that type of work. And so, because we have found that, now we're gonna move into our next step here. Okay, Nita, can you read what's the plan? Inform the board.
The document, we prepared the draft citation.
Yes, read that
So
part.
for the board's review, and then, of course, legal, review also. If we, the format and everything as far as the citation, because this citation that we are using is still like the old citation that we were using before. So,
The old citation?
The-
You mean, is
the
this a
format.
typical citation form that you always use? You need to treat this just like you treat every
Yes, and that's the way,
other case.
that's what she meant.
No different, this
Yeah.
is no
Right.
different.
I just wanted to, because, on the previous council, we have like, he has two different kinds of approaching, whenever we have, I would say, cite a case in like the Samsung, right? Issue an accusation, but in this case, because it was already
Unlicensed.
stated by, the Attorney General for us to just directly issue a citation, that's why we have prepared a citation.
Yeah, the accusation is different from the citation. The accusation is the complaint that
Right.
started this, and we're way over that
Yes.
line.
Right.
If I, honestly, we met with an investigator.
Okay.
My name is Mars Johnson, I represent Menzies, I'm an attorney. We were told by the investigators at the CLB that we would have an opportunity for a hearing. We have not had a hearing on this yet.
It's not,
We
we're
asked
not
when
that
we
step
want
yet,
it.
sir.
Yeah, well, you will have, because I'm
But
sorry,
it's,
sir.
it's gonna
Mhm.
happen.
Because I'm a little concerned because I see
Yeah.
letters from opposing counsel being passed around in sealed containers here. Nothing seems to be above board. And everything that's happened before in this too with the former executive director seems a little shady. So we're a little concerned about all this stuff that's going on where there's no clear path to a forward here.
So in this particular draft that we did, based on what was, recommendation, that to issue a citation, so we did a draft citation, and then the description, how all of this violation was found. There is also an appeal process here that is stated. Based on the format that we were using, it says here that,
Okay, can we go ahead and
okay,
read to the board from the start?
read. So this citation serves as your notice of violation of the administrative rules and regulations of the government of Guam, Title 21, GSA Real Property, Chapter 70, Contractors, Public Law 30-11, 70108A, 70121 violation penalty. You may pay the penalty and correct the violation referred to in this citation unless within 15 working days from the receipt of the citation, you notify the contractor's license board in writing that you intend to contest the citation and the penalty imposed. Should you decide to make such an appeal, an administrative hearing may be scheduled within 30 days, at which time you may present any rebuttal evidence to the specified violations. Should a hearing be necessary, you will be advised in writing as to the scheduled date, time, and place of such hearing. Should you fail to attend the hearing as scheduled, all penalties will stand as assessed. Should you fail to pay the penalties assessed to your company, the CLB may initiate collection proceedings and pursue further legal action with the Attorney General's office. So I'm gonna read the whole draft
Yep,
or just the appeal.
might as well, just so they could,
Okay, so the investigation details, the investigation date was September 22, and then the investigators assigned Marcus Finonia and Nita Bailey. Investigation location, GIAA. Investigation description. Upon receipt of the consumer complaint filed at the Contractor's License Board, CLB by GMI, Edison, Ed Ilo against Aircraft Services, Group, DBA, ASIC DBA Ministers Aviation, alleging that they are performing maintenance and repair work at DJIA Conveyance Systems. The CLB Investigation Unit initiated their investigation. So we have the timeline, September 21, GMI.
We don't need to go over this
Okay.
because the AG's already
Yeah.
reviewed it.
So this is basically what the AG, we also gave to the AG. And then the final thing there is our written investigation report when we have completed. We did not attach anything yet because I don't know if the AG, will help us attach or no.
I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, so once all of this, this is just a draft, so this is subject to the review of our legal counsel. There might be some corrections as far as the legalities because we are not an attorney, preparing it. So it's best that probably be reviewed by our legal counsel. But this is basically the draft that we are following with situations like this, like unlicensed, contractors. So that's why the description of violation is 70108, right? No person within the purview of this chapter shall act or assume to act or advertise as a general engineering contractor, a general building contractor, or a specialty contractor without a license previously obtained under and in compliance with this chapter and the rules and regulations of the Contractor's License Board. And the violation penalty is also under 70121. It states any person who violates or omits to comply with any of the provisions of this chapter shall be fined an amount of no less than $200, but not to exceed 50% of the value of the project. So right there is the assessment of the and order of the violation. So all of that will be decided by the board.
Okay, so it's understood that this is the report that you guys have concluded, the investigative team. So the description of violation, I think we already understand that. And then the violation and penalty, we assess just like we do any other one. And then the penalty, the question mark of what the amount is, and also the system desist. I think we can figure out the amount, but at the same time, the legal counsel, I believe, I'm not too sure if she can't make a decision right there and then. So she's gonna have to look at this. I think we need to give an amount as a working session to be approved, because we have to prove it. Because these are the two things based on this, on this working session that we're looking at, correct?
But we don't have a quorum if we go into a work session, right?
Board meeting.
Yeah, we're just working, this is just a working session.
I know that.
Work this out. We go into, in order for us to make a decision, we gotta go into the working, into the meeting with a forum to decide. But right now, we're just talking about, I believe these are the two things that were found that we need to do. First, is just the violation, we already, it's stated there. And then the amount is what we have to figure out, which I think the investigative team, no less than $200, not bad, but then not to exceed, so I don't evaluate this whole project. Just like we did with the other one that we had, just, it has to be based on the project, and what is deemed, fair and equitable, is what we have to look at. We don't go overboard here.
We have some figures, as far as the amount, we have a figure. I think it was like 78,688 per month.
How much?
78,000 per month because they are on an emergency procurement right now because of it's not awarded, so they have 78,688 per month since November 2021. So that is the
Wait, Nita, explain that amount. We were looking at charging them $78,000 a month?
no. If
That's
you are
the value of their contract.
the value of the project, if you will say the
Okay, the value of the contract is $78,000.
So
per
it's
month.
936 per year, 936,000 per year. Check that, cause I don't have my phone. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is the data that we gathered is
So the 78,000, Nita, is
per
per month.
month.
per month.
On an emergency purchase right now. They are in an emergency procurement, so that is how much, airport is paying Menzies for a monthly because there is no contract. This is over $1 million if it will be like contracted, annually.
But I don't think that should be what we're basing it on. I believe when this contract was first given, forget the emergency procurement, when it was first given and the violation started at that point, it should be that amount that was awarded, and they didn't have a corrected person in there that you can look at. Don't look at the emergency procurement because that's different now.
We don't have an amount then, Rena, because the contract was never awarded, according to Nita.
So all of this is just emergency procurement since that inception of the award?
It's not awarded because it's still under protest. Because I believe the annual for this is like $1 million per year.
Okay, so what is the investigative team's recommendation?
We'll just give the board, the amount that we have gathered from the emergency procurement. Then it's the board to decide if, because based on the November 2021 up to November 2022, that's almost 900,000. Let me look at my calculator. Excuse me.
Ms. Borja, Mr. Ariola has joined the work session.
There we go.
Thanks, Vince, you might be able to shed some light. And, the total, if we're talking about 900,000 since November 2021 till now, as far as the procurement. So what is the number that you as investigative team are throwing at us, the board? It's fine for us to calculate and numbers and all that, but when you start looking at what's fair and equitable, that I don't think we're in the day-to-day kind of thing, so it would be a recommendation and then we can kind of mull it over if that's what this working session is about. And maybe Vince can shed some light and see what it works.
She left the room for a minute, she went to get her calculator. So Vince, we're at the point where, the AG's given us, a go-ahead to decide what we're supposed to decide. So there's two things, one is the fine, and the other is whether to issue a cease and desist order. Nita says she doesn't know the amount of the contract, but that the emergency procurement is paying $78,000 a month to Menzies right now. So I think the maximum fine is 50% of the total contract.
Yeah, so I got this actually from the Pacific Daily News, it's 79K a month since November 2021.
We never asked
But
it.
it's either,
We haven't requested, any, of that yet from the airport. But we can request, the total amount that they have paid, to Menzies from November 2021 up to the present.
but based on our violation and penalty, section, it's $200, no less than $200 a day.
Actually, the penalty, Irina, is like minimum of $200 and not to exceed 50% of the total value of the project. So they're
Correct.
contracted for, let's say, $1 million for a year. Then we could go, you guys could decide to go max at 50% of that, or 25% of that, or, whatever's deemed appropriate for the type of violence. I mean, yeah, for what they violated. The severity of the case, really, we look at that too. So,
Yeah, because they didn't have a licensed, person doing this work. The well-being of travelers to and from Guam was contingent on this, but I would think that, it's really not, it's our other agency that looked into it, so we really can't, I think it's fault is 50% theirs and 50% the agency. But our job is just to figure out what kind of penalty we should give them, and the percentage to be fair. So we do know that they have a violation.
But we do know that they were licensed before, and why aren't they licensed now?
And I guess, Michelle, that's really, our thing is just to say, we found violation, you didn't have a license, you didn't have a proper license. So that's one, we already said that, so and it's already been, that's been found, so they're in violation. So for us, it's to decide, do we say this cease and desist, or the second, and that's one, and the second one is how much to assess them. It's easy on the assessment part because we can figure out what would be, a fair amount to fine them. But the cease and desist is part of our regulation, so we do have, that is part of our job to do that. So, Vince, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just going through the Attorney General's findings again, and
Yeah.
he's pretty clear that I just wrote it down here somewhere.
Pretty much the last page of that, his
Yeah.
opinion.
Says CLB should therefore immediately begin enforcement proceedings to stop the supposed injury, right? To
Correct.
to another properly licensed contractor and or the public, right? So we're looking to issue a cease and desist order, and that basically,
And that's
and we're okay with that for the most part, everybody, right? Issue a cease and desist order. Is there a form letter, or will council put that together?
It's already been done.
Okay,
Here's the draft.
okay, the draft is here already, okay. And then,
so then,
go ahead,
so that takes care of one.
Okay.
That the letter has been drafted, the cease and desist, because once we do that, they have a period to protest it, and then it goes back to the airport, and they can figure it from there. But we've done our due diligence on that first part, correct?
I believe so, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I have it right in front of me.
So, yeah, so, do we have a form? No, we're not in a session yet, this is still a working session, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, okay, so, and then the second thing would be the fine. So the fine, I realize we have up to 50%, but that's kind of not what we're looking at. So, I know we need to get our calculator between, I'm sure the executive director and the investigative team came up with some numbers.
We
Do you
did.
guys have any suggestions?
How long have they not been licensed?
From November 21 up to March, which is like 16, I'm sorry,
How long have they not been licensed? Menzies?
Maria, when did they?
2010 was the last
Was that the last?
license that we have.
20 what?
10.
2010 we have in file is 2010.
When do you, at least to our knowledge, when do you think or when do you believe they knew that the license was an issue? When was this issue ever brought up first?
I think they were knowledgeable with our rules and regs here as far as contractors' license, because they were licensed in the past, prior to 2010.
As electrical contractors with the right designation?
Yes,
Oh,
Yes.
really?
yes.
Yes.
And then what happened?
Oh, we don't know.
They're Army disassociated.
Then they just didn't renew it?
Correct.
They're Army disassociated.
They're what?
Responsible management employee
Yeah.
disassociated.
And based on that, they didn't renew? Probably?
That probably could be the, but still, they could have
Found
hired another RME.
Yeah. Is the contractor supposed to operate that way?
Yeah, but we have to be fair that it needs to go back to the time when we were made aware of it, okay? You cannot go back and assume that 2010 they had a 2011, whatever dates. Those are, that should not be taken into consideration in this fight, in this suit. It's, when we discovered it, when it was brought to our attention, that's the time frame we start from assessing fines.
I understand, but if there appears to be a habit of non-compliance, you know, if you're a bad boy, you're a bad boy.
Doesn't that
Well, then we look at not renewing licenses.
I think also, you know, the work that, at the airport that they did, when did that prior contract start? Which was 2015?
2015,
Yeah.
yes, they have.
They only started doing that airport work, which is the subject here, in 2015. What happened in 2010?
Yeah, so the subject is the airport. Yeah. When did that start?
She said 2015.
And then there is an RFP for the 2021 for the same, you know,
Type of work.
because it was only good for 5 years, 6 years contract.
So the contracts at the airport are what, typically for 5 years?
Yes.
5 years, huh?
Okay, so given those dates, Anita, if you were to do 2021 to present, what's the number, what's the amount that you want to find? That you came up with would be a fine?
It's 16 months, so you multiply that by 79,000, it went up to 1,264,000.
And you're basing the 78,000 on what?
Based on the monthly, because they are on a monthly procurement.
Emergency procurement.
Yeah, right now they're on a monthly only. There is no contract, so that is the monthly.
Of what, 78,000 a month?
79 actually, 78 something, but it just rounded off 78,688. So I don't know if we round it off to.
It's
I
$1
rounded
million
off to
contract
79.
a year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it is, $1 million contract.
Sounds kind of high for this. I mean, this is what they're getting, 78,000. Are we finding them the whole amount? I mean, the project, if you're looking at this project would be, it would be 50% of the 78,000 because that's what they're being paid, correct?
That's just monthly.
A month.
I think it's based on the total, Rena. Total work.
I understand.
So 50%
It's a
would
total
be
work, so
about
if you're
half a
saying the
million.
78,000 is.
If we have
is
to
a
get the
monthly-
maximum, but it's a minimum of 200 not to exceed that 50%,
Yeah.
so it's up to the board, you know, to figure out.
Wait, I'm confused. What is the 50%? What is the 50%? What's the max?
The 50%, okay, divide by 2,
600.
632,000.
That's the 50% of the total project?
Of the work done from from November 2021 up to March.
That's 50%.
Yes.
It's supposed to be 50% of the value of the project.
Correct. Which is our max, fine.
Yes.
Okay. Or you can say $300 times each month. I'm just writing numbers.
The fine is
Yeah.
in the rules.
Yeah.
which is 6 months, okay? Or the 632,000, which is 50% what they decide on a percentage of that. What is fair and equitable?
I'm sorry, Rita?
Michelle? What is fair and equitable on charging, on finding them, not the 632,000, which is 50%, that's our max to fine them. What would be an equitable amount to fine them? I would like everybody's input on
What's
what they think
40%
is
of,
reasonable. 10%, 40%, 20%?
Or it could be like a daily fine until they get the license, because that's what happened to the other case that we have, that it's a government, a project, but we cannot stop it because it's a government project, so we just have to fine them on a daily basis until they comply with
Total.
yeah.
Before, I'm sorry, before we consider this, and I apologize for being late, but before we consider this fine or whatever, this fee or whatever, can we just confirm, because I'm reading the AG's memo here, and I quote, payments shall be made in accordance with rules promulgated by the CLB in accordance with the requirements of the AAA. So do we have rules promulgated by ourselves in accordance with the AAA? Yes or no?
Yeah, we do.
Yes,
Yes.
we do.
Yes.
Public.
There is a plan to amend those rules, but the current rules are on books.
Okay, and the current rules provide for this type of a fine.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. If we have that, then
In fact, it's not even the rule, it's the statute, it's the.
Yeah, it's a statute.
21 GCA versus the administrative, Title 21.
I understand the statute, but typically when you have the statute, then the statute says, based on this statute, CLB shall promulgate rules in accordance with AAA. So, do we have that?
Yes, we do.
For the type of charges that we're giving to them, C-13.
Okay,
It's under the guard,
okay,
in violation of that.
okay. To include, again,
Yeah.
the penalty.
What is your recommendation, Mr. Director?
I would just like that we do it right with consistency in the court, what have we done, and also for the future, that we maintain consistency of our penalties and, so be fair for everybody out there, being licensed or unlicensed.
What do we do? Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
What for, there's one thing I wanna recommend to the board also, in addition to what the AG already here has done, but if you guys notice on the AG's opinion, they talked about injury. So, I recommend to the board that they think about injuries there to not only the traveling public, but also to the employees of Menzies themselves.
well, on the
Having
airport.
somebody there to do electrical, per our findings, and other mechanical things that are supposed to be licensed to that company. Now, if you have somebody working in an electrical system in there, and it's not certified electrician, geez, and that's where I think the age is coming from, Sandra? Injury to workers and whatever. It could be a baggage. Maybe because the work wasn't done right, the baggage is gonna burn from electricity. So it's things like that.
Yeah, I mean, the board's mandate is to protect the public.
Yes.
Okay, so you go forward with that.
Okay.
And it's not just Menzies having a licensed contractor on its staff.
Right.
Menzies, the contract is between the airport and Menzies, not between the airport and the Menzies employee. So it is Menzies, the contractor, who's getting the money and supposed to be paying. The contractor's license belongs to Menzies. And otherwise, we could all be contractors. And just as long as we hire somebody on our staff, we're good. And that's not how it works.
Correct.
So it's more than just, did they have somebody on, a licensed electrician? They themselves, at the top of the food chain, needs to also be licensed.
Yes.
What have we fined other contractors who don't have a license? And especially in this category, if we've had an occasion? Anybody know? On the board?
It's the same.
Staff?
All those, remember on our report, those
Yeah.
are licensed contractors that we are reporting, small ones, we find them.
1,500, right? That's what I've seen.
Up to 50%
Pretty hefty, even the small contractors,
for the
Right.
unlicensed,
Unlicensed.
the unlicensed ones.
on top of,
But how's that,
Cease and desist.
how's that penalty or fine assessed? Is it, daily until they get licensed, or like how is, or is it just like
Most of the cases that we find, like in a small residential project, like a 2-bedroom house, that they did like maybe a 50,000, work extension, and they are unlicensed, so we get the amount that has been already paid, although the amount like the 50K, but what we do is if they have paid 25,000, so we get 50% of that amount. The fine.
yeah,
We have that in, the cases that we've been presenting on the unlicensed. So if that's the 25, by 2, so the unlicensed contractor is paying us like 12,000. And then half of that, actually, because these are like the complainants, will go to a restitution.
I think we should find
But we-
a flat amount and then a daily amount until they get licensed.
Michelle, I was thinking about the same thing because, the max, we can do on this is 632,000. But, I believe from other ones that we, find, it wasn't this much, maybe a percentage of this fine. I'm looking at, this is like 100,000 per month for the 6 months that we're talking about, November to March. It's about 103,000 a month. So I would look
We
at,
should get 16.
of the 632,000 that we looked at the 6 months, is charge them a percentage, and then give them a daily,
16
a
and
daily
20,
amount until it's fixed, because it has to go back. Once we find them, they have so many days to appeal, but it also goes back to the airport. But we do need to do this cease and desist.
Yes. But Rena, it's 16 months they've been operating with this emergency contract according to NEDA, not 6.
Okay, so if it's 16 months, is it 632,000 for the 16 months, Nita? Is it
Yes.
50%?
the
Okay.
50% of the 79,000 per month, the 50% of that is 632. So
For the
if you
whole- the months in question.
for the months in question,
From
16
November-
months.
Yes.
For the 17 months, it's 632,000. Okay, so I would recommend to the board, sorry, Chuck and staff, what did you recommend of this? The 632,000, that's it, or did you have a recommendation on the fine?
Well, no, that's always been our discussion, and that's the way it is. That's our, not necessarily our final, but that's what we're presenting today to the board here, which is what Nita just mentioned. So, right? Okay, so that's what it is for the fine part,
Yeah.
for 16 months,
632,000?
32?
if we have to follow the maximum of 50, but
Yeah.
they could get it. It doesn't have to be 50%.
Right.
It depends on the boards,
Well, and that's what I'm saying, the severity of the case, and that would play with the percentage there, I would believe.
Correct, so your recommendation as the director
Where-
and investigator found is 632,000 for the whole contract.
No, ma'am, that was based on the 50%. Now, if that
Correct.
didn't click the board members to give a green light on that, then we could move it down.
They don't have a recommendation, Rena.
We can.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm waiting for, a
We can.
recommendation from them.
Yeah, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at severity of the violation, injury to the public, both the public and the public per se, and the airport itself. And then, as the ED here was saying, consistency in applying other fines to other companies. You know, so you look at the situation here, which it has been severe, and where I'm coming from is they've obviously known about this for quite some time. They just choose not to do it. I don't know why. I mean, if they're that big a company, I don't see what's the harm or the deal in getting a license for this. Just, oh my God, hire somebody from your 78,000 a month and get the darn license. But you know, you kind of, I don't, you know, use my words lightly. They kind of like snub their nose at the government, including us. So you know, I don't look too kindly at stuff like that. I think the folks that should really be on this would be you know, our colleagues at the airport, because they've got a multi-million-dollar facility up there and they need to protect that. And if you've got someone who's unlicensed working on certain things there, I'd be hecka scared. You know, that something goes wrong. And then you know, I mean, in practice, you know, there could be a probability, or it's also possible that the entire baggage system shuts down. There goes our entire tourist industry, where you have to load the bags in a pickup truck and back up to the airport. How obscene would that be?
Means I can't come back.
Okay.
Okay, so being, this is already 11 o'clock, are we now going into a regular session, or are we still in working session?
We can end it whenever we want to.
Yeah, we can't make a decision here. We're just
Yeah.
I think we have a quorum, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you do have?
Okay,
Yes.
so I think the working session, the working session has done, we've discussed the two things that we have to do, so now,
Don't we?
maybe if I'm following protocol, and then we go into
We
the
have a quorum.
board meeting.
Yes.
So let me get my understanding.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can, Rena.
Okay.
You've got a quorum.
Just let me get a second to pass out the rest of the documents. I didn't do it as we didn't have the quorum to begin with.
Ma'am, can we take a 5-minute break here?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a minute break.
Can we get our ducks together for the next board meeting?
Okay.
And want Michelle to make sure it's finished, so Walker.
She's gonna go put on her makeup. You didn't lose your eyebrows, I did.
I've never had thick eyebrows. I don't think my hair is thin, everywhere, it's always been like that.
I saw you last time. I was like, oh man, I wonder if she remembers me.
When I tried to put makeup and I put eyebrows, this looks.
Who drafted this?
I don't look like me. And everybody goes, did you put something on your eyebrow? I know,
Julia Spellman's wife was telling me how her son does it. She said the longest time is for the numbing. It takes like 45 minutes to apply the numbing and letting the numbing set
For
in.
the tattoo.
Yeah, for the tattoo. She's showing me hers and she,
I mean, it looks so pretty, but I just,
I don't think I could sit there for that long.
I'm low meat.
I have
I'm
inside.
not fair. What you see is what you get.
I just did this one. It was just still in the packet. That was.
Do you want to sit here?
That's why I'm off to the side. I'm not the chair. Where's the chair?
I want to sit back there.
I'm sorry?
He had to cancel today.
Okay.
He couldn't be here today.
Who's the vice chair?
This
Me?
is Borja.
Oh, Rita. Okay. I'm Peels, right? I'm vice chair for Peels.
Oh, you have a lot of boards.
I believe so. Appeal?
Peels.
Professional engineering architects.
Yeah. She's on that too.
No, Brita.
Oh, yeah.
Right on. What about monthly? 10,000.
I'll just do her for, I'm not too sure if she's still here.
That's what I was thinking, that to find.
That's fine. That's nice. But I also wanna find it until we get licensed, so you don't wanna do that.
Oh, on a monthly.
Yeah.
Either way, they're always there. Everything's gonna be focused. I mean, they're gonna.
Do you guys want anything, iced coffee or Aloha Made? I have some Pepsi and.
Coffee, tea, or me?
Did you like anything?
Recess, or we're still recording?
I believe
I,
we are
you know,
still,
when I go to the
we are still live,
bathroom,
correct?
they use fasting,
We're still
right?
live, yes,
I
but
can
we
never
are
use the bathroom
recessed.
because I take my
In the morning, you
Yeah.
need.
So, all the way up is drinking water. I wanna sit there and wait and have the urge to get drinking water. It worked.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Do you want the investigators in?
Is that your water? Did you bring that? Because it's a different brand than this,
This one,
or they just.
they also have a different one.
Oh,
Yeah.
This
It's
one's
just-
essential, it's okay, that's
okay,
fine.
I just thought you brought your own.
I did, yeah.
Just take another.
Council, you've seen this draft already?
Yes.
Yeah. Are we okay with it?
Yeah, you know, we only review as to form,
Yeah,
the content,
it's just the same as we've done the rest, right?
yeah, it's the same, in fact, it's just citing the statutes. And what you
Yeah,
guys
she did
decide,
this. You did
that's what for.
Okay. So, do we have an agenda for this,
The form is just.
Yes. Right here.
for this meeting coming up?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I
we're
have.
good?
There's a,
Yes,
Okay. And who's our quorum? 1, 2, 3, 4?
yes.
And,
Okay.
You're only missing.
you don't,
Chair and,
I just
Mr.
told you,
Cruz.
Chairman,
Is
that's
Matt
tomorrow,
Cruz?
you get chickens.
Who?
Yeah.
Other than the name, for the,
Haji?
next tomorrow.
Oh, crap.
So
What's your name?
which boards are you on?
I think you're talking about,
Donna?
no,
No.
Like
um,
Marlene?
and this one.
the guy
Who's this
that,
out there?
Ron.
Ron and
Ron.
Edward.
Ron.
Not Ron, that other one.
oh, I don't know.
The lady.
Vince is on.
Not Donna?
Find out,
He
no,
owns
no,
this,
no.
Is
You
it
said-
like
I'm the
some
chairman.
fruits and veggies
Okay,
last
Ron
time?
Cutter was gonna, boss, I ordered 2 pans of pancit and 2 fried chicken, and you're gonna take care of it. Chili muka. He likes to do that, he orders these, you know, cause he's very, loves these things.
Yeah.
Then he uses the bill later.
Almost.
I'm calling the continuation of this meeting from, when was the last meeting? March 15th. Continuation of that meeting, the general meeting, and we will pick up from, Jerry, where are we leaving?
We can, I just needed to do, I don't know if you wanted to do the same thing, roll call. I have public, or affirmation of public notices. They are included in the packet. Miss,
Okay, let me just say, because for clarity's sake, this is a continuation of our regular.
Sariola, DPW.
Geraldine Stanley, board secretary.
Nita Bailey, CLB, investigator supervisor.
Maria Perez, administrative officer.
Sandra Miller, Office of the Attorney General. Selena Ashland, board member.
Michelle Santos, Revenue and Tax.
Surya Sanchez, executive director, COB.
Marcus Fenonia, the COB investigator.
Andrew Misa, COB investigator.
Public?
Johnny Lau, JMI Edison.
Neil Vasa.
Troy Torres, candidate.
Mars Johnson from Blair Sterling Johnson and Martinez, we represent Menzies.
And then Mr. Rena
That's
Borja.
it.
Yes.
And I'm Rena Borja, vice chair. So let's continue with the meeting. Gary, where do we leave off again? I'm sorry.
Section reports, the revision to,
Public comment?
public comments.
Okay.
Do you have any public comments? No public comments, ma'am.
Okay, so continue.
The next on the agenda is Administrative Division, Maria Perez, revision of report of contractors of Guam.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay.
The only amendment I have on regards to the active contractors, I just forgot to add the additional 10, which was 918. But the total amount of 991 was the same, including the inactive and the master electrician. They were all correct, except I didn't add the 10 on the active contractors.
Thank you, but that didn't have any effect on anything we're discussing, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Next is the Investigative Division for Miss Nita Bailey, Investigator Supervisor. Report on case number 2022-0511, Franklin Olympia Johnson versus Paul Sablan. Requested documents from the AG's office.
Okay, so I'm just gonna, this is just a follow-up to the last board meeting because the board decided to give a citation to Mr. Paul Sablan, and then we had mentioned that the AG's office is involved. So I have an email here from the AG's office that I just wanted for the board, that they have requested documents also from our office. So it's like this case now is also being handled by the AG.
Okay.
Who at the AG? I don't know who at the AG.
Under the Consumer Protection Division, because this is the tiny homes and
Is that Fred Nishihira?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, section,
It's a different attorney.
yeah, it's a
So the
different-
homeowner filed something with the AG's office?
Yes.
Is that what we're hearing?
Yes. We also gave a citation to the unlicensed contractor. The board decided to give them the citation. And then now the AG's office is filing a criminal case against the unlicensed contractor. And they are in coordination with our office.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So just for the board to know that both now, we haven't, the citation returned because he did not, it was a notarized, certified mail, but he did not, it was not picked up. So now the AG's office is also conducting their own investigation, or the consumer protection of the AG's office. Okay?
Okay. All right, thank you, Nene.
Okay, welcome. Go ahead. So on the next one, this is also a continuation of our case report on the CLB versus Mr. Belong, which is this person is asking for what you call it, hardship, and he still owes us $400 from his citation that he has a promissory note, but he has a sickness. I got all the supporting documents that the board was asking for the board's decision if they can accept it for the hardship and close the case. So Mr. Belong is in the Philippines. There is a ticket attached to it that he is seeking treatment in the Philippines for a lung center. I don't want to elaborate more because this is a health issue. But we have all the proof that actually he is in the Philippines for health reasons, for a treatment. So it's the board now, if the board is willing to accept the request of Mr. Belong for the reduction, or to close the case and not to pay the full amount that we assessed, and he still has a balance of $400.
What's your recommendation?
To close the case,
Board?
$400 remaining on the promissory note. He already paid. He was actually very good in paying, for his promissory note every month. He would come in, but when he got sick, then he could not pay anymore.
It's not really any proof that he's sick, it's just an order for a CT scan in his lower abdomen.
Yeah, he went to, but he's in the Philippines. He went to the Philippines 25 of January, Marcus.
Yeah, actually, they did submit other documents, but because it said his health conditions, we didn't wanna, have them submit that HIPAA violation. And then they even showed us pictures of him in, like, the house, like, that's fine, I'll just.
Okay. We, based on your investigative team, we really don't need to get into all the details of this. What it is you can just tell us the fine, how much a fine is, how much he's paid, and circumstances, and the balance, and what you guys recommend.
Okay, so the total fine is $1,200, and he paid $800, and there's a remaining amount of $400, and based on the on our findings also, that he's really trying to cooperate about, this violation. He's really so sorry that he committed this, so
Okay.
we just recommend.
Okay, so recommend recommend closing the case, correct?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, so anybody from the board make a motion?
I
Or
move-
discuss, or what?
I move,
To close?
I move to close the case and forgive the $400.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Okay, Jerry, it's closed. Next.
The next one is to review documents for case number 2021-0904, JMI Edison versus Menzies ASIC. Proposed action to formally make decision to resolve case based upon the opinion from the Office of the Attorney General.
Okay. And based on a working session, same thing with the investigative team and the executive director. We do know that we have to make there's two things we have to do here. And so I like to hear what you, the investigative team, your recommendation.
Karina, based from our working session earlier today, seems like
Correct.
we're really forwarding what we have decided to do here at the COB staff, officers, members. And then we'll be recommending the cease and desist operation. And also that we're going to go ahead and move forward with the recommended amount of penalty for operating as a non-licensed contractor.
Okay, and that amount was?
The amount was?
The amount,
Yeah,
it
what is
was,
that amount?
Well, the figure we've been working on is not necessarily the right amount yet, but there will be,
so we came up with 628 based on the number of months that
16.
they had been operating since the RFP, this RFP for 2021 was, given to the airport. So the amount we came up is 628, so it's up to the board now to, decide whatever amount.
Yeah, that's based on the 50%, right?
That's based on the
For the
50%
value of the project.
of,
Which is the max.
Which
yeah,
is the max, okay.
which is 16 months. I have arrived at the 16 months since November 2021 to March 2023. So it's 16 months times 79,000 a month. So it's 1
Okay.
point or something. Yes.
I believe we have two things in front of us as a board. One is to say, because they don't have the correct contractor's license, is to cease and desist, and that's what that's one. The second one is to the amount, the penalty amount. And this penalty amount, board, we need to agree where that's what it is. And is it for the whole time, or are we gonna do 628,000 plus months after that? We need to decide that and be fair to everybody involved, because this is something that will probably come up again in some other future dealings that we have to think about. So we need to be fair, because moving forward, they're going to be using this as an example. You did this to so-and-so, and now why aren't you doing this to me, kind of thing. So we need to think about that when we make this decision. So anybody want to make a motion?
Before I do, Madam Chair, I just want to confirm that in the penalty and assessment, I'm looking at it right now, on item number 7 here, it says, Menzies must cease and desist from performing construction work until they obtain a contractor's license from the CLB. So, are we only prohibiting them from doing construction work as opposed to operational work? Because my thinking is, if we give them a cease and desist order, does this mean they stop complete operations, baggage operations, is at the airport? And because if that is, if that's our intent, if we cease and desist them and we give them a notice of violation to stop all operations, who's taking over? Who's gonna make sure that the bags come out on the carousel?
You're correct. You're correct.
I don't wanna be blamed
I
for
think
that.
it is here.
But
Yeah,
isn't that the
the
airport?
penalty and assessment.
I think it.
But hold on, for our part, let the airport do their thing. Our penalty assessment and order for violation that our investigative team has put together, it just says it's going to cease and desist from performing construction work until they obtain the license. Okay, so that's all, this is what our staff has recommended, and this is what we're answering to. We're not answering anything else.
I beg to differ, Madam Chair. I mean, you know, we're gonna be like the Guam Raceway Park where the CLTC, you know, shut them off, and then, you know, they came back and then they put them back on, you know? But we need to know what we're doing here, because whatever we do here has further consequences. It's not just a matter of having them not work or not do construction work. So that's what I want to be real clear. Is it construction work or is it complete operations?
And what do you mean by construction work?
It says right here.
Right, but see,
So,
what is construction?
construction to me would be doing electrical work based on on that, what's the,
The on the license, so whatever
On the
that
license.
license requires,
right,
you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Unless you have that license.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
so it's, I'll recommend to the board that we should target C13, which is
Right.
electrical.
It's electrical.
So if we hit them on the electrical part, then they won't be able to touch that until they acquire a license or whatever the airport decides to do. That would be beyond us, right? But as far as COB, I would recommend to the board that we like target C13. I mean, they could still unload baggage and all that, because what we found through our investigation is they're not licensed to do C13, which is electrical
It's the,
contract.
yeah, whatever is the violation,
Yeah, that's what
you
it
have
is.
to stop
It,
that.
it's gonna be limited to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanna
So you
make
need
sure.
clarify. You need to clarify number 7.
I just wanna be clear that, you know, if something
So-
goes down and it's electrical, they have to go out there and find someone with a C13 license to come and to fix that electrical. If a motor burns out or there's a short somewhere, they can't be doing it. They've gotta hire a licensed contractor to do that. In the meantime though, operationally, they can make sure the baggage
continue.
gets on the whatever and it continues to service the
Well,
passengers.
You know, again, the airport's contract is comprehensive.
Yes.
It includes a C13 as well as the whole operation. So the violation here is the C13.
Yeah.
Just so that we're real clear again, that it's strictly on the C13 requirements and nothing outside the scope of C13.
The AG
Because the scope
recommended.
is maintenance and repair.
They have a business license.
Mhm.
They have a current business license with RevTech.
It says, the AG issues cease and desist from conducting business in the unlicensed activity.
It is
So,
C13.
do you need a license to unload baggage?
I don't know what their contract says up at the airport.
I mean,
Yeah,
do you need a contractor's license to do whatever, those other things?
But the conveyor is being run by the motors, so, you know, like, without the motors, of course, the conveyor will not be able
I
to-
don't
Their
believe
license
we need to
at
get-
RevTax is aviation support services.
Yeah,
They are licensed.
I don't think we need to get into that. The AG's opinion stated that the C13 electrical subcontractor classification, this number 7 on our description of violation, can we just make sure that that's in there from what the AG's office gave us? Put that in there and that should be
Can we
okay.
clarify it, that it's specific to C13?
You could just copy it and just
Right.
change the work from performing construction work to, from conducting business in the unlicensed activity,
All right,
namely
C13.
C13.
yeah.
Yes. Change that, okay?
Because construction work
Okay,
is.
then,
So with that,
Okay.
Madam Chair, I get I'm just like putting my opinion here. My input is that, would that have any impact on our penalty, the amount? Because I believe that 50% covers the entire contract stipulated as a warrant.
correct.
So now we're down to C13 only. So
Correct.
what part of C13 is the 50% of the contract? So I don't know.
And that's where I was coming from. You, the investigative team, look at what percentage of that, because if the 632,000 is 50%, that's not what we should penalize them for, because we're only penalizing them for that section, although it's electrical, it encompasses the whole operations there. That's not our purview. Our purview is just that, extract that C13 and say, this is how much we should charge you for. So at the 628,000, we need to figure out what percentage it would be fair.
What do you think, Edith?
Okay, don't
Okay.
talk at the same time.
Were you had something? to say,
Oh,
or?
no, well, I was just gonna mention about the fine, I think, the 50% is a little excessive, so for me, kind of in a fairness, and also just to incentivize the contractor to get licensed, because that is essentially what we want at the end of the day, is to have a licensed contractor performing this work, is to, for the 16 months that they had performed the work unlicensed, set a percentage amount, and then maybe a daily amount, for example, like the minimum 200 per day till contractor, secures the necessary license. But I just think the 50%, the max is, it's a little excessive.
Well, it looks like we're just throwing the 50%. There's something we
Yeah.
could work on, but not necessarily the true
So
figure.
maybe, establishing just like just like a set amount per month,
I agree with her. I think we should, assess them 300,000, plus a daily amount until they're licensed. Sort of to force them to get licensed. I don't know.
So basically, we're saying we're charging them 25% of the total contract for the 17 months, and then $200 per day until it's cured.
I don't think $200 is gonna cut it for me. It needs to be more.
Per day.
Per day, yeah. 5,000 a day until they're licensed. They know they're supposed to be licensed.
Okay, anybody else?
Why don't we dispose of the citation first, the cease and desist? I motion that we issue them a cease and desist order specific to their C-13 license though. Just specific to that. That's my motion for now.
I second it.
Okay, so Vince made that motion. Anybody second?
I did, Michelle did.
Okay, so all in favor of this?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's approved. Jerry, I hope you got the motion wording correct.
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you.
and
So
then
now
I'd
to the second.
Yeah, on the second
Yes,
one,
Vince.
I'd like to amend Mickey's motion, an initial fine of 300,000, and then a daily fine of 1,000.
Okay. Anybody second that or discussion?
Are you okay? You want it higher?
I'll second it. I think the time.
Okay, Michelle seconded.
It's still
Anybody,
30,000 a month.
all in favor?
Daily, right? That's
Daily, yeah.
Daily. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Motion carried, and they do, and that just to know that they do have, Menzies does have time to, they do have a time span to appeal this if they do want to, correct? Legal?
Yes, I think they have,
Okay.
15 days.
15 days.
Okay. Is this, now we're done with this update? We're done with status quo, this item number B?
300 plus 1,000 per day.
300,000 plus 1,000 a month, a day, until the proper license is procured.
I just have a concern here, Madam Chair and board members here. And so, done all this, they get their license by next week. I know it's gonna be up to the airport if they're gonna continue working up there for them, but where do we actually close our book? Once they get their license, they're fine? Or are we gonna consider the fact that they were operating without a license? I don't know.
That's already being considered. We're fining them, right?
Okay,
But,
so is that good enough
should
though?
they appeal it or whatever they want to do, that we'll wait, if they get past the 15 days, then it's closed, right? Yeah.
Okay. I just wanna make sure for future purposes.
Sandy will keep us.
Is everybody clear and understood that part?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
I'm tired.
There being no, do we ask any comments or are we move on?
That's up to you, ma'am. Then we can move on.
Okay.
The next item on agenda is the executive director's report to the board of directors.
Okay, just real quick here, I wanna congratulate the following investigators for attending the Saturday classes for 4 weeks over the Guam Safety Services. And those are Marcus Finonia, Andrew Mason, Aaron Aragon. Aragon?
Yes.
Yeah, and they all completed this course, and thank you guys. 30-hour training,
Good job.
so they're better equipped when they go out to the field, or if Nita wants to talk to them. Number 2, Aaron Aragon, Geraldine Stanley. They attended the Governor's Initiative for Guam Zero Waste Working Group Forum held March 1st at the IAM. Participating in the forum noted the goals set for Guam's future in waste management, collaboration with numerous agencies on Guam. Maybe some of you are wondering why do we send them there? Because we are contractors, and I just want to make sure you understand what's behind all this program. So when they come in to apply, we have better knowledge of what they're doing actually out there, okay? So number 3, Director of Energy Office, Rebecca Spishu, reached out to us to help promote the Guam Energy's Office Tropical Energy Code Workshop. So there, we went ahead and we sent Vicky Fernandez, March Guerrero from our admin team, and Marcus Finone, Andrew Mesa from our investigation team to attend this event. Reason for that, again, we do deal with solar energy contractors and all that, and so it'd be a good knowledge for them to acquire as this contractors come in to apply for their license. So that's it for me.
Okay.
And
Thank you, Mr.
there are more trainings upcoming, and they will be still active.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Old business?
Review of updated law exam, proposed action to formally approve exam for the next step in testing procedures. We have provided a letter to the board, chairman for approval from the board. With the timeline, February 8th, the proposed exam was presented to the board for approval. February 23rd, the CLB staff and board members met for the executive session. At the session, it was discussed that one of the proposed questions was not sufficient and needed to be changed. On March 2nd, CLB staff provided 4 board members with an updated draft for review to proposed questions, as well as proposed questions being removed. March 7th, CLB staff received 2 of the 4 drafts with board member approval. And then March 9th, CLB staff received a verbal approval of the draft from a board member. So out of the 4 drafts that were submitted, we have approvals from all 3 board members that the questions are okay to exchange out. So we are just awaiting the board's decision to effectuate and update the law exam.
Thank you, Jerry. I need, does any board member have any comments on this, or would you like to be able to take a vote on this?
I move we vote on it and accept it based on the 3
Okay.
board members.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so be it, it's passed.
Okay, great.
Next, Jerry?
Next is the update to C11 demolition. Basically, the update is just from that work session was that it was we needed to come up with a format to follow, and then so that kind of halted until we can get this format approval, which goes into the new business, which is the introduction of the proposed testing format. We had gone through NASCLA and reviewed some of their testing formats, as well as through get the proposal from board member Selena Ashton as to what we can base our criteria on. And then we also followed California's examinations, Florida and Hawaii, and one more, Philadelphia, I believe.
Yeah.
Philadelphia. So I have provided the board with a draft. So this is basically the top document is rules that we would be held to as creators of the exam. And then the second page is a draft of what a study guide would look like for the exams. Would you like me to read the proposed exam format?
Real quick
You have
question.
it.
Selena, did you look at this?
This is from Selena's recommendation.
This was just provided today, ma'am, so, it is based off of Selena's recommendation. So
Okay.
she mentioned that we would, test on regulatory, competency, and safety and local compliance. So we did put that into effect and then pulled also some, subcategories, whereas regulatory would be, code requirements, electrical calculations, and then competency is, you know, the knowledge within the scope, and then a percentage of each, area of how much would be in the exam.
So if they studied the
Okay.
study guide, they should pass the exam.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not like driver's license. It's totally different from the exam.
Oh.
How did you?
So, Mr.
I wanna try
Executive
that.
Director?
Yes?
What do you and your staff look at this? Is it as it is now? Is it-
It's, seriously speaking, it will be better than what it is. So,
We haven't
um,
had-
for, as far as integrity of the examination, Rena, it's a good idea, and it's time for it to get a check. And,
Okay.
let's move on with this. It's
Yeah.
based on all the codes and other jurisdictions that we have talked to or messaged to, where they came out and helped us on how to proceed with this testing criteria. So it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be a new thing.
Are you comfortable with it?
I am very comfortable with it.
Okay, that's what we need to know.
So I'm not comfortable currently with that.
Okay, so you need us to approve this, so can somebody make a motion?
I move, we approve the, proposed,
Perfect.
what is it?
Exam format.
Yeah, for,
It's a format, yes.
okay.
I need a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, you can,
Okay, Celine second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any, nays? Okay, so it's been approved to formally adopt this. Thank you for all the hard work you guys put in.
You're welcome. Ma'am, the last thing on our agenda is a discussion regarding the Google Translate, as the official translating tool for CLB exams. Proposed action to formally approve the CLB official use of website, translate.google.com to translate exams into multiple languages. I have provided I'm sorry?
That's what that was in the.
Yes, I got Maria with that one too. So basically
Yeah.
so the document that's provided, it is in Russian. The second page is the actual document of what is produced in English. And then the third one is a sample, a snapshot of what it would look like on a cell phone. So if you look at the second page and the third page, there's minor differences, but as far as this basic verbiage, it's pretty accurate. So speaking with Attorney Sandra Miller, she had just suggested that if we do decide to use it, because we have had inquiries from the public asking to use their phones, which we do not allow in our exams. So instead of them using it on their phones, we're proposing or requesting to use the same app that they would use and translate it for them on a document to provide to them.
Not use their phones.
Not their phones.
How does this app work
So
without the phone?
without the phone, I would have to
Print.
upload this document onto this Google Translate online, and they would issue me back the entire document in whatever
In like
language.
Chinese or Sichuan or?
Yep.
We did it once with the
Russian.
Russians. There
Yes.
was, like they said, there was a minor.
Like toilet, I'm sorry,
As long as they understood it.
bathroom, bathroom renovation was toilet renovation, so it's minor
Okay.
things like that.
So how do we know though that it's, I mean, if you, big difference between bathroom renovation and toilet renovation.
It is. The other option, it's basically just the other option
mark
is
it
to
wrong.
have the interpreter,
Interpreters.
which we don't always have access to. So they would have to wait until we can get an interpreter. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do
Let me
you have
ask
a
you,
lot of Russians?
We have had a few. Yes. We've just had one that did not understand. Well, spoke English, did not read English very well. So that's we went through this with that
How
individual.
do they operate? I mean, everything we sell here on Guam is in English. It's not gonna be in Russian.
We were just trying to think how we could do it on our part here with the testing.
But my question is, would this be compromised if somebody logs in and somebody else takes the exam?
It would be issued on a printed paper.
and take it here?
Yeah.
No, yes. So it wouldn't be online. It would be printed for them.
Oh, okay, so it's just it's a translation and they have to sit in front of you guys and take the exam, or whoever's administering the exam?
You gotta make
Correct.
sure they're the right person with ID and all that.
Okay, that was my thing was, since everything is online and anybody can go online, that kind of thing, I just,
Yeah,
to
no.
preserve. Okay,
Are there
there's no,
exams? Go ahead, Rena.
go ahead.
No, are the exams timed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are they
Oh,
timed?
yes. The exams are timed.
Are they allowed to ask questions? Like, I'm just thinking the toilet and the bathroom,
Uh-huh.
And
Yes.
it's the guy, what do you mean,
If they
renovate
do
a
have
toilet?
questions, we try our best to assist.
Yes.
Okay.
So we do have one testing proctor, and so that one individual will be the one that they would speak with.
To me, the toilet would be more important than the bathroom.
Yeah.
I've never
I think it's
renovated
the
a
one with
toilet.
tiles,
I've replaced the
Is the
toilet.
standard kind or the?
Yeah, that's true.
This falls under Maria's section?
Yes, admin section. Well, it's a
What-
joint effort. So both.
Okay, so what's your recommendations?
Maria.
Maria, what's your recommendation?
If it's feasible and it's allowable, then that's fine. We always try to do the best we can to help the applicant and give them also like their study guides. That's gonna be a struggle for us also. Because the majority of our testing before was
You
multiple
have to
choice.
translate the study guide too.
Translate that's
You
the,
have to do the.
What's the-
test, you have
What,
to
does
translate.
anybody have info? What's the failure rate?
75.
Percent failure rate?
No.
Oh, no. Oh,
Yeah,
She's talking about the
Yeah.
passing rate.
the passing.
Passing rate is
is
75, 3/4 pass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something's wrong, right?
So
You got a bad test.
It's not working.
Come on,
I
Maria.
think our mission here is to be able to help the public get the correct licenses and that they're doing their job correct, so we don't have any more penalties, issues, and that kind of stuff. So if your recommendation as staff that do the day-to-day work, say this works, then I would like to see it going forth. So do we need to approve it?
Does this have to be in our rules or regs or anything, or are we okay just,
Yeah.
I don't want some guy,
Translation?
yeah.
There's nothing in the rules
Nothing in
about that. I mean, you
Okay.
can give your,
Okay.
I think, doesn't Reventax have various languages?
Yeah,
posted?
driver's
Yeah.
license.
And actually,
that's
there's
right, yeah.
there is a, is it there's an executive order that you have to have certain languages posted.
For OSHA.
Not only, yeah.
For safety.
And we don't wanna say we're
I mean,
being
you see it at the court,
discriminatory.
even us
Yeah.
at the AG, so, you do try to your best.
That's why, the previous board, they don't wanna be accused of like discrimination, right? That's why around that time when we were, getting, interpreters at that time, like Korean, Chinese, we haven't encountered, any Russian, but she did a Russian based on the, what you call that, the translation only. So that's how we came about with the Russian. But for the Chinese and the Korean, we have before one person here, but of course he's not. He does not have the proper what you call it, credential. He was just like accepted by the previous director because he is
The president of
the
the
president of the
Chinese
Chinese
Association.
association. But they don't pick, like we are the one who assign who will be the interpreter. So it was accepted then.
Okay, so
Usually
for multiple languages,
embassy
do
or
we know what multiple languages we're gonna be
they
doing?
have certified people.
So we
Multiple language.
I didn't print out a document as to what is available, but there is a huge amount. If the board would like us to have it on hand, we can do that, but we can also just wait to see what is requested and work from there.
like Chinese.
Like if
Okay, basically what we're doing is putting it on our website, and then, for those, how much work is needed for your staff, for the staff
It's
to
a
do
lot of
this?
work.
Because even the study
A lot of
group,
work?
the transcript,
It's a lot of work.
it is a lot of work.
it is.
Geraldine's doing the bulk on the all of it.
When I translated the Russian exam, it took me about 2 weeks because I was also working off of working with another contractor who has already taken this specific exam to see that's how I found out that there was just that minor thing between toilet and bathroom. So
Okay, so I think it's a lot of work, not to put a damper on this, because I believe in opening it up to all different, multiple languages. But if it's gonna take if it's gonna take a lot of work on your part, and then once it's up and running and it's gonna take time for you guys to manage it, it sounds to me like it's a full-time job already. So,
Yeah.
Chuck, maybe, I don't wanna prove this yet, maybe we can table it for the next meeting, but can you guys look into, give us some stats on how long it's gonna take, and, after once it's up and running, how long it's gonna maintain it, and then,
Are there other apps?
yeah, what other apps, and the pitfalls, I realize that there's a lot of positives on it, but for the downside of your staff and, what we could be sued for, because toilet versus bathroom, that kind of stuff. Can you put a little bit more into it and then let us know in the next meeting, please?
Do other boards use different languages in exams?
I don't know what other
Why don't you
boards
call
use.
around and just get a feel,
Okay.
just so we know that there's not
That's a good
another
idea.
app available.
I'm pretty sure appeals, it's just strictly
Yeah.
English.
English, yeah.
That's it.
Well, you can forget
Yeah.
about tax on driver's license.
They uploaded Chukis.
For the other licenses, I think medical and legal are all, it's a
Yeah.
standard,
Yeah,
those are
that's
standardized exams.
Correct.
Is your exam not standardized from states or?
No,
It is,
created.
the exam is standardized. I
Yes,
think
but
our
it's-
target here was, how can we make a applicant Russian, Chinese, or whatever, how can we make them understand really what's in the questionnaire? And this, half of these people, these foreign guys that come in here, or ladies, they don't speak English. So, yes, sir,
Well, you know,
That's the
on the
problem we're
flip
having.
side, when RevTax was doing the cosmetology board, exams, we brought out the first team from Hawaii to test maybe it has to be in all English, but, the examiners learned a lot from the foreign, beauticians or cosmetologists, their methods and how they learned something new, so that was a good experience for them, and they said so. So on the flip side, that happens as well, so,
Yeah, I think it's good. Just want to make sure that, we have, our staff isn't overtasked. So if you can do a little bit more, work on it, just letting us know, then, I don't want you to spend weeks, but if you can put together something that would make it, good, and Chuck, it sounds to me like it might be a full-time person. So if you could look at that and give us, your findings next meeting, please?
Gary, as a matter of fact, speaking of full-time person, I did approach the director of BBM already, requesting possibly for like a PC or just for this purpose. We wanted a full-time person here to do exactly what
That's a good idea.
Geraldine is doing, because I'm
Yeah,
taxing the
kinda.
rest of the other bureaus here. Taking them away from investigation, administration, so,
Okay, so please don't do that.
was that, I'm sorry?
Yeah, don't do that. Those, the staff and the admin and, investigative, I think they have their plates full. So, yeah, that's a good idea if you're pushing for it to get a person to do this. It's a good idea, but, don't pull your staff from there, and that's the reason why. Can you put a little bit more work, and then maybe we can help you with trying to get a full-time person for it.
Okay, and I'll probably need a blessing, for the request to be on the stronger and positive side from the board.
Okay.
You know, maybe the board could, come out with some kind of, highly recommendation, to BVMR. And whoever
Okay.
needs to know that we are in dire need of that, position. And I did talk to Lester about it, and I recommended, in fact, 2 slots. And that's the PC and a additional investigator.
But do you have the money for that in your budget?
And I did, explain to Lester, BVMR about that. General funding is always gonna be the number one thing that comes up. And with our special account that's there, the COB,
The fine.
the fees and fines, if it stays the way it's been for the past 5 years to present, man, it'll be okay. So Lester did promise me that they're gonna work on it and look at it. And he was just kinda leery about that special fund, you know, cause it's transferable. So then again, he goes,
What do you mean
We-
transferable?
oh, they could move it, he could play with it,
Lester can?
yeah. That's on the, budget act, so. Yeah, so that's where we at with that, just giving him time to settle down with whatever's going on downtown now and those, whatever pay they trying to address, so. Once that's done, I'm gonna meet up with him again. And then I'll
Okay,
keep the board informed with our actions.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, anything else on the agenda? I'm looking at the old agenda, Jerry.
Vice Chair, I apologize, I should have brought this up during the discussion on JMI, but, I just wanted to put on the record that there was a correction to the AG's opinion dated March 14, 2023, which is that on page 7, it erroneously, on the second paragraph, it erroneously identified the Menzies it says, the Menzies electrician would not permit the CLB to look at the troubleshooting log. That's a misidentification, it was just an error. We meant, the Attorney General's office. It's page 7, section 3, paragraph 2, it was just a typo. I don't know whether it's typo, because it's not necessarily a misspelling, but it was a misidentification.
all right.
So it should be in Menzies what?
It was the Menzies, not
Baggage.
electrician, but the
Baggage.
bag handling supervisor, whose name is Miss Irene Rachel. And it's just so that we're all clear, you know, the Menzies electrician
Okay,
doesn't come
correct.
back and say, hey, that wasn't me,
All right.
it's, we're not accusing him of that, okay? Just be
Yeah,
clear.
thank you, Ms. Miller.
Thanks.
Okay.
Ma'am, there's,
All right, so-
there's just an announcement, just a scheduled regular board meeting for April 19th and 2023 at 10 o'clock a.m. and then adjournment.
I move you adjourn.
Okay, so thank you. We'll all see you on, April 19th. I'm telling you in advance, Jerry, I will be off island again, so I will do this call this way.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so being said, thank you everybody for attending. The meeting is now adjourned.
Oh, ma'am, we just need a second. Miss
I'm
Miss
sorry.
Santos first, and then
Second.
Who needed it? Okay, all in favor?
I am.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay,
the meeting
thank
is
you
now
all.
adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, board.
No more envelopes